What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and Santa Clarita is the third largest city in Los Angeles County, and the Santa Clarita Valley has almost 300,000 people in its 13 communities that are spread over more than 500 square miles. But did you know that the area wasn't even officially named until 1987? And even then, that was after a debate that lasted almost a decade and almost led to the city being called La Mancha, or the Stain. What? Let's get into it. So first things first, when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in August of 1769, they named the wild river they saw for St. Clair, or Santa Clara. But the thing was, there was already a Santa Clara in Northern California. It even had a mission. So over time, the area became known as Little Santa Clara, or sometimes the Little Santa Clara Valley. As early as 1920, there were efforts to incorporate some of the communities of the Santa Clara River Valley. But as a whole, the name was nebulous and nothing formal really stuck. That was until 1944 when the first high school was going to be built in the area, and local historian Arthur B. Perkins suggested a name, the Spanish translation of Little Santa Clara into Santa Clarita. And sure enough, the first high school was going to be named Santa Clarita High School. But that didn't last too long because silent film and Western movie star William S. Hart, who made his home in Newhall, passed away, and in his will, he left his land, his bison, his ranch, and his mansion to the city, to the public, not even to his family. So the grateful community abandoned the name Santa Clarita and renamed the high school William S. Hart High School. In the 40s and 50s, the population began to swell, and the area was just referred to as Newhall or Saugus, or just the Newhall-Saugus area. Didn't really have a ring to it. And that's about the time that the Newhall Land and Farming Company opened a new community called Valencia, and Scott Newhall, grandson of the founder of Newhall, who owned the Newhall Signal at the time, decided to rename the area Valencia Valley. But that name was not beloved by all the locals either, and by 1974, there were suggestions that the area should just secede from Los Angeles County to form their own county called Canyon County. The issue actually made it to the ballot in 1976, where the majority of local residents approved the secession, but Los Angeles County residents as a whole did not. 2 years later, the issue made it back to the ballot again, where it was also defeated. But the momentum was there, and throughout the 1980s, the growing community knew that it had to forge its own identity, so it was going to become a city, and the only question was the name. One of the possibilities was City of the Canyons, playing on former Canyon County. Another formal suggestion was La Mancha, which had literary roots. It was the birthplace of Don Quixote, but it also meant the stain in Spanish. Finally, on December 15th, 1987, clear-headed citizens voted against La Mancha and City of the Canyons and voted to incorporate as the city of Santa Clarita. Turns out the historian Arthur B. Perkins was right that whole time, and the actual translation of Little Santa Clara was just too obvious, too easy, and too good, and it became Santa Clarita. Better that than having a historical stain on your name. All right, LA, it's been a minute.